Thanks for coming. Always good to see you guys. Just want to say, wow, well, what a game. There was some great moments in this game. We were talking about it walking down the hallway. The first thing that comes to your mind is all the things that you wish you could do differently. But we also want to celebrate the small growth areas that we have, or some large growth areas that we had, and continue to get better from it. And so proud of these two young ladies. They had great nights tonight. I thought Sayvia was obviously very dynamic with the ball in her hands and made everyone around her better. Also, you don't recognize her on the defensive end of the floor on the stat sheet as much as she was really tremendous there. And Tayra as well. Really hard offense to guard as a 5, and I thought she did a tremendous job of understanding when to switch, when to not, and really played really solid on both ends of the floor. So. Just excited to learn from the game and continue to get better. These games are going to help us a lot as we move into conference play. We still have some non-conference left, and so excited to come in on Monday and take a look at the film and get better.
Yep.
Hey there, Coach. I just have to ask you about that fourth quarter. It began with Elle hitting that shot there, and it felt like after that third quarter that you guys would just keep rolling. Had the 10-point lead there. Just what happened? Not just tonight, but is there something happening in these fourth quarters? Because this seemed a little bit like Sunday.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. I think second quarter and fourth quarter we're continuing to have some difficulties, and we evaluated that last time. Wanted to make sure we kept our players fresh. Tried to make sure that this is a team. We're hard to guard and they're hard to guard because both of us really move the ball well. It's a fun game to see, I'm sure. I think that we tried to take care of that a little bit, make sure we were rested. But we just had some lapses. We talked about this in the locker room at the end, is valuing possessions on both ends of the floor, really understanding the moments you need to lock down and get a stop and extend a lead. And I do feel like we got a little comfortable. And I think that was evident in a few possessions where we didn't look the same defensively and allowed them to get away and get some threes they had not seen in the game up to that point that cleanly. And so, they obviously had some looks that we would like to have back. And then on the offensive end of the floor, we had times where we executed at a really high level when they were defending well. And then when they denied Sayvia, that gave us a little bit of trouble for a while. I thought we run some good actions to try to get the ball back in her hand. I thought Tayra did a nice job of helping her get that. But we've got to be cleaner. We've just got to be cleaner in our spacing and waiting on our players and setting up screens and just a little cleaner.
Yep.
There's just after your 3, it tied it up, crowds into it. At that moment, you're like feeling what, and what happened from like there?
It was a big shot, so I was obviously super excited and happy. And I knew that changed the momentum, so I was just excited to keep playing and get more stops, get more buckets.
And for Tayra, you had the first 6 points of the game. It seemed like throughout tonight, this was the most comfortable offensively that you've been all season. So what was working really well today in terms of the shots you were getting and kind of finding that confidence?
I think the confidence comes from my teammates trusting me to feed me in the post and just, that just, like I said, makes me feel confident to just go up and take a good shot.
Yeah.
And continuing to do that.
And for Coach, it seemed like you said Utah is a really hard team to stop offensively. It seemed like a lot of your possessions today were going down towards the end of the shot clock. Was that a plan for today to kind of limit their opportunities to score, or was it just something defensively where you were having to wait a long time before you get the shot that you wanted?
We talked about that at halftime. I thought we turned down a lot of good shots. I thought we were very tentative at times. We wanted to play much faster, wanted to play with better pace, and we shouldn't have been in late shot clocks. And that was kind of our goal going into the game. So it wasn't the game plan. I just don't think we executed very seamlessly a few times from transition to offense. Credit Utah for that. But also there was moments that we could have just gotten into our spots a little faster and gotten open.
For Sayvia, I think this is the 4th or 5th time this season that you've matched or set a career high 30 points today, which is the first time for a UW player since the 2019-2020 season. What's how you've grown kind of so much in these games throughout this season, and in terms of shooting and scoring, what's kind of been the main catalyst for that?
Yeah, I think, like Coach said before, we put a lot of work in during the summertime to just develop as players. In games like this, when someone's hot, my teammates trust me to have the ball and take those shots. So I think just having confidence from my teammates and my coaches help me go out there and perform like that.
And for any of you, obviously the fourth quarter was a problem, but through 3 quarters, you hold them to 40 points, which is really good for a team that averages 87 a game. So what was going really well in those first 3 quarters that you were able to kind of shut down their offense for pretty long stretches of time, and then what changed between that and the fourth?
I loved the way they executed our defensive game plan. I thought they did a tremendous job. The way we guarded ball screens, they obviously, shoot the three and get to the rim, and that's their mentality. I thought we guarded really well. Frankly, what it felt like was our offense dictated our defense. And so we could have stayed in this game by just continuing to lock in and get stops. It also could have forced some turnovers or some good transition moments for us, and I think we'll see that on film.
A bit of a follow-up for you, Tayra. You weren't here, but earlier in the week we had talked to Coach Langley about perhaps getting you involved in the offense a bit more, allowing you to just be more of an offensive threat. Was that a conversation you had at all with Coach this week? Just taking more shots or getting more involved in the offense?
I mean, it was almost like it's what we practiced. Like, it's not like nothing changed. It's just what we practiced. We're looking at different reads, and she did give me the confidence to like get more looks and just shoot more, I guess.
Yeah.
And Sayvia, about playing with Tayra, it felt like there were several times where she set really solid screen that you or your teammates were able to step behind and hit down a big shot. Can you just talk about playing with her and sort of what she allows you to do from the guard position?
Yeah, I love playing with Tayra. I think the biggest thing that the guards learned is waiting on the screens. I feel like when we wait for screens, Tayra wants to set us good screens and get us open. So today I thought me and her had a good connection going on. I was waiting for her screens, and she was trying to get me open, so it was good today.
And then for you, Coach, obviously there were portions of the game where they were really trying to heavily deny Sayvia the ball. Neshvieta did a pretty good job at that. Were there, obviously she had the hot hand, she scored a bunch of points. Do you think there were times when maybe the team should have done something else, should have tried to find other players to score, or was your plan pretty much to kind of keep trying to go to Sayvia even if they were denying her?
Yeah, good question. We did both. We actually put her in the center spot in chin and let her become a screener. And so obviously when someone's denied, they're a great screener. So she did that a few times. She was able to step out because they switched. I'm so sorry. I'm trying.
Take a break. You're all good.
It's allergies. We tried to put her in the screener spot, and then obviously they switched a few times, and she was able to step out and still getting ball screens. And so it ended up back in her hands because she was doing such a great job. Tayra made a good decision in that. And then she just continued to make good reads, and so we were able to then take her back out of the pinch and get her the ball back again.
And then continue another game you've out-rebounded your opponent. Utah's not necessarily a team that's known for rebounding like UCLA is, but still, was that one of those, positive things that you take away from this game for any of you, really?
Yeah, I think the past couple weeks, actually, honestly, all season, we've been trying to focus on rebounding, offensive and defensive rebounding. I think the last 2-3 weeks we've been putting in an emphasis on that, so I think to see improvement in that is always good.
Coach, I know we've talked about turnovers throughout the course of the season, how you want to work on that, and you mentioned cleanliness here in this game. What do you see? And I know the turnover number itself wasn't too great in difference between you and Utah, but Utah did get 13 more points off of those turnovers. What did you see there in that regard? Is it just an execution thing? Was it their denial? What did you see there in that regard?
I think decision-making, sometimes it was not caused by defense. Sometimes it was us, and then sometimes it was great defense. And that's what we're talking about value of possession. When we can make a good decision and hold on to the ball and just make the next right read, that's on us. But they got out in passing lanes and denied some plays, and I think that was some good moments for them. But I think the thing that we really want to focus on is our assists, too. I thought our ball movement was a little off. I thought our ability to again, run our offense with some pace, take the first available shot. I thought there was some assists there when we made a great shake pass or something and then didn't take those shots. So I think just being shot ready and running our offense with pace, and then we obviously talked about valuing basketball.
One more for me. Obviously, Utah's played pretty similar system for several years, even without Lynn Roberts moving on. They really don't take mid-range shots. It's either they're in the paint or they're taking those threes. Does that make it harder or easier to guard them or to scout for them? Like, how does that sort of affect your game plan, knowing that that's what they're going to do, but you can't necessarily stop them?
We played a really different team last game in UCLA than Utah, so I would say just the transition from team to team was different. But I was really proud of the prep. I mean, we knew Utah very well. I mean, they felt very confident. I think you saw that defensively for 3 quarters. And so, you know, I feel confident that they prepped really well. That's probably our biggest growth area. We talked about when we went down to the Bahamas, that we started scouting and really spent a lot of time talking about game plans. And I do think that they're so locked in on that. I've seen a ton of growth. I think we're just getting started there, and it can be something that we really excel at. We just have to finish, and it can't be a result of obviously how we're playing on the offensive end of the floor. Because we can be special on both ends, but the defensive end, you know, has progressed a little bit even faster.
And they're, just after playing LSU so close and being close against UCLA, and then to now with this game, what's the next step for this team?
We have to earn it. You know, I think in the end, you know, if we don't value each possession, I think that you have these disappointments. You know, I think we played a little, you know, reckless with some possessions, you know, again, on both ends of the floor. And that's on us to teach our team that we've got to slow down and value moments and how to get into plays quickly and make sure we have the ball in the right person's hand and understand why we're running something. And so it's really on us to make sure that they understand how to do that better. Thank you.
I lied. I have one more question. This is for Sayvia and Tayra. For you, just how good do you think this team can be? Like, when you think about your guys' potential, what do you think of? That's, you know, just.
Yeah, I think the first 3 quarters we showed how good we can be when we take care of the ball and we're defending well. I think that, like Coach said, once we learn how to value every possession on defense and offense, we'll see more of how we played in the first 3 quarters all game.
All right, thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.